Hello, my name is Paulo, and today I will share with you a smaller version of how to make your own bevel gears for a 3D printer. As you can see on this screen, I'm sharing the end result of this tutorial, which will be two bevel gears with 90 degrees one each other. So one another example which I would like to share is this real one where I have a differential and I'm making a small version of it for printing, and inside of it we can see the bevel gears working together. So as I turn one gear from one side, the other one will turn based on these spider gears inside of the differential. So we are trying to do here is we are going to do actually this gears inside of the differential. I will improve these gears for 3D printer, and my goal here is to make smaller ones like these ones, as we can see on the screen. And for small gears on the 3D printer, we have some tricks which is important to note, because it's easy to print a bigger one like this one. We can make a lot of strategies to print it, and almost all of them will work. But these small ones, we have to be careful on 3D printing them. Before I start, I would like to share that if you want, you can find some paid plugins like this Bevel Gear Maker. I saw some good reviews of it, a lot of YouTube videos showing how to use this, but my focus here today is to use a free solution. So let's start. We will start using these utilities built-in on Fusion 360, which is Spur Gear. I will just run it, and from here I can create a gear. The smallest module I found useful for 3D printer is 2 millimeters, not less than this. And the number of teeth which that I found useful, the minimum one is 8. I did try a lot of printing like with 5 teeth or 4 or 6, but 8 was the minimum one which worked for me. These values, you can find more information on my previous tutorial, which I'll link on this video. And the thickness, any value should be good here, because we are not using the thickness itself, the structure itself. We are making basically here a normal gear, and we are interested only on the gear format. So our gear will have 16 millimeter, as we can see. Let's create it. Nice. So now I have a gear, and as I could have gears of any size here. On my previous tutorial we did this bigger one. Here I will just create another one like this, so just copy and paste, and I move 16 millimeters because this is the size of the gear. So now they can run and fit perfectly each other here. The next step will be to create a new sketch from this angle and a new rectangle. This rectangle will have 18 millimeters because we need it to be as half of the size of the left gear, and 8 millimeters of height because it's the half of size of the gear of the right. So on my previous tutorial these values will be different, but here is 8 and 8, and we need to divide them here. Again, I explained everything, the whys of everything on my previous one. This is a summary tutorial, a short one. And here I will use I can use 12 millimeters of diameter. After we can change this easily, which is great. Fusion facilitates. And one important thing we should note is make a measure from here and this angle, and note this 45 degrees angle because we will need it. Okay, the next step here will be to move those gears a little bit. We need to make both of gears focusing this point of them on our focus point. For making that, let's just select them. So I use shift for select both of them, and I will move them. Before I start moving around, I need to set pivot here on this point. Once I click it, I will unmark and then rotate minus 45 degrees, which we previously have noted. Okay, now I have two tooth of each gears pointing to the focal point. This is critical. Okay, after this, we don't need anymore the body of the gears, so I will hide them. So let's hide, because I copy pasted. If I hide one, the other one will hide too. It's just important to note. But I need to see the sketches of them. Yeah, and I can let me show just more time the body, because I will need once more the body of this one. Basically, what I want to do is to have this sketch here available for me and pointing to the focal point. As we can see, the tooth about the from this gear is already pointing on the focal point, but this one, this sketch is here, so I need to bring this sketch all the way around here to use it. So let's move this one. I just need to click on, let's select it, move, and rotate. So this angle I will rotate 108 degrees minus, and great, now I have one tooth of each gear pointing to the focal point. Let's just hide the body, and yeah, as we can see, one tooth of right gear and one tooth of left gear. Both of them are ready for use. The next step will be making the teeth of the gear. I will start for one tooth from the left gear. Let's just use this tool called loft and capture position and select this focal point and create a new body. Nice. So I have this new body I just created. I don't need this, I just need this sketch here, and again selecting that sketch, loft, and let me show all the sketches and select the focal point again. Instead of making a cut, let's create a new body. So we will end up with two bodies here, which are one tooth of each gear. It's a little bit strange right now, but we just need to cut them. So let's work one of them. So let's select this one, modify, split body, and let's select this circle as a split tool. So as you can see, this circle here defines the size of each tooth of the gear. So you can after this change the size of the circle, and you will change the size of each tooth. So I will split them, and after making this split, I just create this new body, which I will remove, not delete, remove. So yeah, now I just cut one tooth of left gear, and let's change it. Now I will work with this one, modify, split body, and let's use this circle as a split tool. Again, it will split here. Okay, so I will just remove this one, and now I have two teeth, one for each gear, and they are ready for continuing. Again, I will hide one of them, which will be the responsible for the right one. I would start with the left one. So now I need to work with this. On my previous tutorial, I explained a lot how this planes works. Here I will just create a three plane with 3 points, which will be this point, this, and this. If you want to know more, my previous video is complete. I will create a sketch here from this plane, And let's turn around again. I prefer this angle. Okay, and I need to click on these and these arrows and click on the letter P to project these on my new axis. Yeah, perfect. So I have projected them. Okay, and now I can start creating something. For now, we can create these as we want, because after this we can always change. I will create a point from here from 2 mm. This is like the size of the gear. After it's ready, it will become clear. Remember, you can always change. I'll use follow this line. You can calculate to make perfectly, but I will just make a straight away point. Here I will use this line as a reference. Here let's use this line, and here this line. Great. So it's almost done. I could, for instance, just finish, and now I have this plane, this sketch on this plane, not on the previous one, but this one. And here I can just start revolving. So let's create the entire structure of the gear. Let's use this revolve tool, selecting the profile and the axis, and using a new body, we just created the base of the gear, which is awesome. If you want to make a hole here, we can use some space. There is a lot of ways to create holes. For simplifying this tutorial, I will just leave it like that, but on the previous one I made another strategy. Okay, so these two bodies are from this gear. I could make the same process on the other one, or I can just finish this one. Normally I make the same process on the other one, so let's hide this one and let's create the same process here. So let's begin constructing a plane with 3 points, which will be this, this, and this. So these 3 points. Okay, and let's create a sketch from it. Okay, now I can work on them, and of course I need to select this axis, shift and this one, and click on P for creating a projection of those axes on my new plane. Okay, again explaining everything on another one. Let's create 2 mm following this line, and this line again. This strategy could be, oops, let me just Ctrl Z. These drawings can be changed according with your needs. Let's create one line here to layer, just arbitrary space, and here we can define space. If I want a hole for with 3 mm, I can put here 1.5 mm, and I will have a hole of 3 mm. Because I'm using revolve, so let's select revolve on this profile and this axis, and creating a new body. And here you can see the spaces that creates this hole of 3 mm, which you can later change as you need. Okay, so far so good. I have this structure of my 2 gears, 2 bevel gears. Now I just need to finish them. So let's hide again this one. Okay, let's begin with this one. Okay, I will hide this profile, these sketches, because I don't need them anymore. As this one I don't need either. Okay, let's make another teeth of the gear. For that we will use this pattern tool, circular pattern. I need the sketches actually, because I select the object which I want to create a pattern, and the axis will be this one. For default he suggests 3, but we created 8, so it's critical that you use the same amount of tooth as you created on previous your original gear. So let's create it, and as you can see we create a lot of new bodies here. So let's this is one gear, it's almost ready. Of course we can make a lot of improvements which we will see after, but for now let's make one body from all of it. And we could make in a lot of ways. It's one thing that I like to do is separate in its own component. So let's select one body, create a new component, standard bodies, and it will create the component from it. Let's select the another parts and make a component and move them for this new component. So now if I hide this entire component, I hide the entire gear, and all of them are here, which I can work with them alone as they are right now, or I can just merge them, combine them in one single body, which is good too. You can use both of the strategies. Okay, let's hide this teeth, this gear actually, and let's work with this one. Again, selecting the one tooth and creating a pattern, a circular pattern, and this axis, quantity 8 8 teeth as we saw before, is the same amount of teeth that you have created before. Here will be different, like for instance 8 and 24 if it's amount 3 times more. And yeah, it's ready. Now I can make the same thing, create a new component from one object and move all the other objects to this new component, and now I have 2 gears. Let's just combine those bodies. Great. Nice. So basically I have we could say, okay, this is ready, you can you already can print it and they will work. They will work perfectly, almost perfectly, and we just need to make small changes here to make it better. But the most important part of this video was until here, which I tried to show as fast as I could how to make this bevel gear. Now I will just improve this a little bit for 3D printing, because on a 3D printer, let's hide this one. On a 3D printer we have some problems when we are trying to print those edges, like there's these small edges here, because the nozzle needs to go from one tooth for then another to another one, and this process of making a small changes on each tooth of the gear leave the entire gear with some problems when you want to use them on a real world. So I suggest to cut these edges for a better print quality. Of course, you will find a lot of strategies of cutting. One thing I like to do is just creating a new sketch, actually a new construct plane, offset plane from here. Like I could cut like 1 millimeter, or 1 millimeter will be good. And I could create just a sketch here, and I can create a circle, a big circle. I'm pretty sure there is a lot of better ways to do this, but I'm not a fusion specialist, but I'm pretty sure this works. So okay, this is our sketch. I will extrude this with the letter PE, actually, for extrude, and cut everything I find on the top of it. So now it will be better for a 3D printer. I do recommend you do that. It will increase a lot your gear performance. Let's do the same for the another one, and again let's select this, construct offset plane 1 millimeter, and from this plane I will create a sketch. A circular object, could be any object, just need to be big, and I can select this E for extrude, and just move them like 2 millimeters, which is good. And now I can see both of gears with the edges of each tooth of the gear cutted, which is great for printing. So I do recommend you do that. And of course, one more thing you can do is make like is extruding a little bit of space to holding the gears if you want to test. But on your real world scenario, of course you will have different needs. For instance, make a hole here like this one, or make one thing I do like to do, which would be, for instance, let's create a new sketch here. It's common to use like this polygon structure and make it like on 4 millimeters. And now what you can do, you can just extrude -4 millimeters inside. So you just created a way to put some axis on your gear, so you can interact with it, which I do recommend, like this one. So yeah, as you can see, it's easy. This is one strategy you can use, and yeah, that was my goal here, to show you on a quickest way how to make a bevel gear. This is part of a bigger project, which is this differential, which is part of a bigger one, which is a retro excavator that I'm making, and of course it will take forever to me to finish it, but I like to make small steps, well done, like these steps I'm doing here, and share everything. So if you have more interest to know this project, you can see on my website, my blog, and see the entire project. Thanks.